Hi everyone and welcome back to Public Eye, a 6-part series of podcasts brought to you by Granite Exchange. Once again, I'm delighted to be your host, Sarah Travers, and throughout this series I will continue speaking with fabulous local entrepreneurs and business owners to learn more about how their companies have come to be, to gain insight into their growth, and crucially find out how they continue to innovate. So wherever you get your podcasts from, remember to keep an eye out for all the new episodes and subscribe to stay up to date. Today, I'm joined in the podcast studio by Jim Finnegan, founder of Pocketbox. More on Pocketbox in just a second, but Jim, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Delighted to be here, Sarah. Thanks very much.
So, as always, we give a little tiny pocket box of background to you and your business before we begin the interview. But Pocketbox is not Jim's first successful business. He has a track record as a serial entrepreneur, especially in tech. His first venture, JMC Mobile, which was the second largest O2 direct partner in Northern Ireland, with offices in Newry, Belfast and Leeds, was acquired by O2 Telefonica in 2014 for a 7-figure sum. Jim is an early stage investor in a number of other companies. Can't wait to hear more about that. And his most recent business is, of course, Pocketbox, which was launched earlier this year. It's an online digital platform that helps vehicle owners manage all of their motoring paperwork and policies. Pocketbox smart technology makes vehicle ownership easier and safer. And as with every app that I hear about, but especially this one, I think, why did I not think of that? Because there is nothing worse than looking for your insurance documents, your driver's license, where's the MOT piece of paper, and you've got it all covered.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think so. We're trying our best anyway.
So before we talk about the businesses, let's find out a little bit more about you, Jim. Tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up, etc.?
Okay, well, I'm a Newry man. Born and raised in Newry in Greenfield Park. I went to the Abbey Primary School and then I went to the Abbey Grammar School after that. I'm married to a Newry woman, Tara, for 13 years. Better get that right or we kids when I go home. We have 3 children. I have a stepdaughter, Jenny, she's 26. And then with 2 young children, Sophie Jane at 6 and Jamie, he's 4.
Oh, goodness, so you're busy.
Yeah, well, they keep us brave and fit anyway, running about after them. So
they keep you young, I'm sure. Now, where did the entrepreneurial spirit come from?
I suppose from an early age, I was always interested in making money, From when I was young, I was selling sticks around the doors, I was washing cars, I was doing all sorts of different things. We had a stall in the market when I was 16.
Wow.
The biggest seller was women's slippers. Bought them at 25p and sold them for $1.99.
So you were a bit of a Dell boy.
Yeah, I suppose Down was in the All-Ireland 1981 and I was selling, we were selling hats, scarves and headbands. We were actually buying the wool and making the headbands ourselves. Wow. And I had about 8 of my friends all working, selling for me down the town. I was working in a shop called Trueform at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't get the Saturday off, but 8 of the fellas were down the street selling the hats, flags and headbands. And I made £160 profit that day. But I wasn't able to do any of the selling myself because I was working in Trueform, couldn't get the day off. I made a £10 or £12 or something for working all day in Trueform, and I'd made £160 on the street with the boys selling for me.
But you knew you were onto something there.
Yeah, well, once I realised, that that more or less taught me that there was easier ways of making money than to be working in a job, So after that really got me going, and that got me thinking about different ways of how I could make money.
So how long did you stay at Trueform after that?
I think I might have been sacked a few weeks later.
Okay.
No, I'm only joking, but no, I didn't stay that long after that, I suppose. And but from an early age, I was always interested in, I enjoyed the sale, I enjoyed the chase, I suppose.
But where did it come from? Was it in the genes?
It just probably something I was just always used to,
And what about school and things like that? Were you interested in school?
Yeah, I suppose when I was in the primary school, I was really interested in school. Went into the Abbey Grammar School, it was a total culture change for me. You know, I wasn't used to changing all classes, and I was separated a lot from different friends that were in my class and stuff like that. You know, so but I suppose. Even at school, I would have been selling things as well, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, so it was, I enjoyed school. I enjoyed my time at the Abbey Grammar School. It was great teachers and a great bunch of lads that I went to school with, so I was happy there.
This podcast is sponsored by Granite Legal Services, a niche business and immigration law practice located in the heart of Newry City. Granite Legal Services provides legal advice to both individuals and companies alike across a wide range of industries, from employment, commercial or corporate law matters to immigration law. Granite Legal Services focuses on providing legally sound, practical advice to its clients. To get in touch, visit www.granitelegalservices.co.uk or contact 028 3026 2200. Okay, so you realised you could make money and you could get other people to sell the things for you as well, which is great too. So you're sort of sitting back, stroking the cat, so to speak. But where did you take it next? Where did you think, okay, move on from the headscarves to what?
Yeah, well, it was in 1999. I was working for a mobile phone company, and I realised that I could do this myself. And the guys that I worked for were good guys, you know. But it ended up I left and I started my own business, JMC Mobile. Mm-hmm. We painted our own sign. We'd done everything. I think I started that business with about £147. I was lucky enough. My granny and my daddy, they gave me a few pound, and they were able to loan me some money and got me going. Right up until the day before, we had the shop all ready, and right up until the day before we were due to open. It's a funny story, like I hadn't even got a supplier. Nobody would supply me because they didn't trust, because I hadn't that track record or anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was lucky enough there was a company in Belfast at the time. They backed me, and the day before the phones arrived. And that was us. We were up and running then.
Seriously? So
yeah. So
tell me how that worked, because I find this difficult to understand. So you knew that phones were big and everybody was going to have a phone, but what kind of phones are we talking about here, and how did it work?
I suppose it would have been they would have been all contract phones and pay-as-you-talk stuff. But I suppose at the start it was like people were probably saying, "Who is this young fella?" You know. We just, you know, he's no track record, you know, because you're signing somebody up, you're taking their IDs, you're signing them up into a contract, you're giving them stuff out on credit, you know, so they just didn't trust us, you know. So, but we're lucky enough, as I said before, that company, Netcom, you call them, they actually took a chance on me. And then there was another guy in England as well, a guy called Brian Gundry, and he took a chance on me as well. And it ended up then, it just went from strength to strength after that.
This is what I hear more and more. There've been lots of guests have sat opposite me in here, and it's always been that, you know, keep flogging, keep going, keep trying, and eventually someone gives you a break.
Yeah, well, I suppose if you knock enough doors and you try, you know, just don't give up and have a bit of self-belief that you'll do it, eventually something will work out well for you.
And of course those guys benefit too then from your success.
Yeah, well, the suppose JMC, we ended up, we left the retail, and then we went into B2B phones, and we had a full telesales operation selling it throughout the whole of the UK and Ireland, and it ended up, we just built it up into a great company, and eventually then O2 came and they said, "Look, we want to buy you out," and the deal was done within a couple of months, and I was gone.
Now, did you always have your eyes on the prize? Is that the way you start? Is that the way, especially in tech like this? Did you know, I'm going to get out at some point, I'm going to sell?
Yeah,
had your eyes on O2 or whoever?
Yeah, I suppose I was always interested in selling the business. It got to the stage then I sort of got bored. Margins were being cut. There was all different things like that. So I just decided, I think it was time to move on to something else. I just fancied a change, you know, and I just then they made me an offer and I took it, you know.
You couldn't refuse a seven-figure sum.
Yeah.
How life-changing was that?
Yeah, it was, tell you the truth, to see, being honest with you, making, you know, I suppose like doing different deals, you know, it really just depends. You know, some people, the chase was over, you know. I just felt that I needed
time
something
had
else
come.
as well, you know, so.
So you were ready and you knew the time had come,
Yeah.
and you know, it looked like there wouldn't be a better time. So that's when you know, and that's a crucial lesson for people too, is kind of
Yeah.
knowing and trusting in your gut that this is.
Yeah.
And there could always have been maybe something else, but you got to go at some point.
Yeah.
You got to jump.
Yeah, it was my time to just change and go for something different, and I just did then, you know. I was happy enough then after that, you know.
So that was back in 2014.
Yeah.
What then?
Yeah, well, I suppose then I worked with Field Motion. I've been worked there for a few years. It was a workflow management software with my brothers and stuff like that. So after that, then I left and I decided to go work. I had this idea about Pocketbox. I think I have that idea from. It was around 2016. It was in my head. I was over in business in Boston, and what happened was I couldn't sleep one night, you know, and I was thinking of this idea, and I started to type the idea into my mobile phone. And I wrote the whole business plan on the mobile phone, and I sort of parked the idea, came back, but I kept coming back to it all the time. And I'd been thinking about, at the time wonder is the car taxed, or, you know, different things like that.
What date's that up on? And
yeah, and it ended up then, I thought of the idea, I parked the idea, and then it wasn't until 2019 that I actually took it serious and decided, right, now's the time I'm going to have a serious look at this. So what happened was I went out to the market and I asked friends and family first, and then I went out and I talked to I would safely say I talked to over 300 people. And I asked them where did they store their car documents and different things like that. And I also asked them about their service records. You know, did they know what they got done at their last car service? You know, when was the last time they got to change their brakes, you know, timing belts, such. And the vast majority of people, first of all, they said, as far as the car documents are concerned, we keep them in a cupboard, that drawer,
the glove
this
compartment.
drawer, glove compartment, mantelpiece, under the bed. They were the documents were everywhere, everywhere. It was unbelievable. There was a few people now who were organised.
Yeah.
And
There are always a few. I
there was
hate
a
them.
few, you know, were organised. But the vast majority of people just kept the documents everywhere. They were just lying everywhere. So I realised then, everybody's much the same as me, you know. But I wasn't organised with my documents and different things like that. So then
It's the same scramble every year when you're going for your MOT, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the same scramble. But even then, after that, like the service history, I could never remember what I get done the service history. So then I realised if we start to develop this app, we really probably have something here. You know, people would use it. A lot of people said, yeah, I would definitely use that. It'd be really helpful and different things like that. So we started to work on the app, and we worked on the app. We were working on the app from November 2019, and we worked on the app was due to be ready in November 2020, but we had got to a certain stage, and we looked at it, and I said, it's just not right. And we were about 2 weeks away from launching, but the user interface and the UI and the UX user experience, I just wasn't happy with it. And I spoke with a couple of guys in the team, and we all made the decision together that we were going to scrap it. Scrap the idea.
2 weeks before launch.
Yeah, 2 weeks before launch. And we revisited and we had a look. And I tell you the truth, I'm delighted that we did.
Right, there
because
you go.
It turned out 10 times, 100 times better than what we ever had built in the first place.
And did you go to a different company to do that, or did
No,
you stick with the same team?
We actually build everything ourselves.
You did yourself,
yeah, we do
right,
everything
right.
from scratch ourselves, and we just revisited. I just had a gut feeling it wasn't right, you know, and we wanted to give the user the best experience possible. So we went back and we just scrapped it, because a lot of people there, I suppose, in business, they get so attached to their product, right? And they put an awful lot of effort in. It's their baby, and they put an awful lot of effort into it, and they're constantly building and building. And if somebody says something bad about it, they take offence and different things like that. Sometimes you just have to learn to let go. Do you know,
Step
if it's
back
not
and
right,
look at it objectively, and if you're hearing, because you don't know who to listen to, but Right, so you step back, and how many of a team have you got in Pocket
We
Box?
have about 6 there.
6.
Yeah.
So you really need, you're going in there to have a conversation, and maybe it's something that again is keeping you awake at night. You said that it was a collective decision. Do you think that they were all relieved that you pulled the plug, or were there a few?
No,
"Oh,
I tell
my
you the
word."
truth. See, being honest, we have a brilliant team at Pocket Box. Just we have the best team that I suppose you could ever imagine. All good bunch of guys. The way we operate our company is we don't operate it with an iron fist. We operate everybody. There's no bosses or anything like that there. Everybody just works well together. Everybody is encouraged to bring ideas to the forefront and help develop them as a person as well. So we take everything on board. We work together as a team. We talk through all the ideas. Everybody gets a chance to put in exactly their own ideas and their view on things. And, sometimes, the best ideas come from the unexpected places, So, at the end of the day, we're a team, and that's what it's all about. I think that's...
Where did you recruit the team from then?
We got
Gathered them over the years?
There was actually somebody who was recommended to us. Michael, he was recommended to us by somebody else who knew his sister, and then there was another. Then Mick, we got advertised. I'd worked with Mark in the previous job before. I knew him through Catalyst, through the Science Park. A bit of work I'd done with him, and I suppose, it would just sort of...
Just word of mouth and advertising, and, what skills would they have? All different? Or?
All different
Right.
skills. Everybody's got their own skills. Everybody has their own expertise, So we've got designers and, marketers and programmers, and, everybody's got a whole range of skills, and we've a good combination of skills there.
With a tech industry, do you all need to be in the one place, or obviously everybody's had to work remotely over this last while, but I suppose in a tech industry, maybe you were doing that anyway. I don't know. What is the setup?
No, I suppose at the start we got an office from the Danske Bank in Belfast. They had run a thing with Catalyst Inc. in conjunction with them, and I was talking to one of the ladies out of the bank, Susan Kane, and she recommended that we would come down there and work out of Belfast. So we took an office down there, and then when COVID came, it closed down. So a lot of the guys then were working from home and different stuff, and then we have a guy works with us in Florida, and but most of this stuff is all done online. There's only myself and Mick in the office at the moment, and the rest of the guys are working from different parts of the world and stuff. But the thing about it is, I suppose it works. Our men, it doesn't really matter. The boys that work with me, it doesn't really matter. The way they operate is, you could go onto the computer at night, right, for instance, and you could look, and the boys are communicating at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's times there, Mark and Michael, they've come and they've worked a full night shift, and and they've just got into something, and they've started programming or doing something, and they just keep going, and it's no obligation to them. They don't worry about it, they don't talk about it.
It's a passion. There's the drive. They want it to work.
They want it to work.
The tech industry, as I say, it's not my forte. You didn't start out to be a tech whiz, but you're totally there now.
I wouldn't. I don't know about that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, how much do you need to know, or how tech savvy do you need to be?
I suppose for myself, I suppose you don't really need to be totally tech savvy as such. What you need to do, you need to know how to put the people together who are,
right,
and to be able to guide them and to to run the business. Like at the end of the day, the way I've always looked at it, if there's anything I don't know, I would always go out to my network or out to the people that, that's, there's always somebody out there that can give you the answer.
And it sounds like there's a lot of support there, and I think especially in the tech industries, people have said to me, different entrepreneurs, when you've got a tech idea, investors are interested, banks are talking to you. It's sometimes an easier sell. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I suppose there's a lot of people out there that are just a lot of business people out there that are just brilliant. They go just over the top to come and help you, and they don't mind. They like hearing new ideas and new things, and they don't mind helping up and coming businesses. You know, then you've got the likes of Catalyst Sink, who are just great down the Science Park. They're unbelievable. You've got Invest NI. There's a lot of support from Invest NI. We actually get funded from Invest NI. We've also got funded from Innovate UK. We have Amazon Web Servers give us money towards our servers and different things you got there, you know. So there's a lot of support out there, you know. And even local around here, there's Newry Enterprise Agency, which was a great help to me when I first started out. They had advisors and different courses and things that you could go on and help you with financials and different things you got. So there is a lot of support out there for anybody looking for it. And
would you recommend everybody to take anything they can get, or is there specific bit of help that you would say do this?
I suppose if you're like going to start your own business, you need to write your idea down, you know, and just once you have that, you know what you're doing, you can go out and you can talk to friends and family and all, you know, like it's all right. Testing the market. If you go out to test the market, but if you go out to talk to them, for example, they're not going to tell you it's crap or it's rubbish or anything like that.
No, that's true.
You know, but they'll help you in different ways where the likes of, you know, they'll give you guidance and maybe a few tips and maybe open a few doors for you. The other thing would be then is to identify whatever target market that you're going after or whatever sectors that you're going after. You know, like for example, like we at Pocketbox, we have a tool there that's for car dealers, you know, and different automotive businesses as a customer retentions tool. So we went out and we talked to people in the car industry, you know, and found out, you know, would they pay for it, would they be interested in it, and they've helped us sort of mould it into the product that it is. So
would that be like an additional, if somebody bought from them, this would be a little add-on to their car purchase, is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, what we can do is we can actually dual brand Pocketbox, so that when they actually, just say for example, they give Pocketbox out to any of their clients, we can dual brand it where it comes in, only the reminders of the renewals will come from such and such car dealer.
That's
you know,
brilliant.
So it reminds people, and they would give all the reminders and the renewal dates and, you know,
you see,
like
there again, you go, great idea. How do you make sure you look after that idea?
What do you mean?
You know, when you get it patented and you basically make sure that nobody nicks it.
Yeah, I suppose, like, hey, it's down to everybody itself if they want to nick it. You know what I mean? It's down to them. You know, but I suppose it's probably the time that it takes to build an app, you know, and you know, there's a lot of work goes into it. Like we were developing over a year, you know, to get the thing right, you know, so it takes time, you know. A lot of people probably think that you can go out and you can build an app for 10 grand. It doesn't work that way, you know. There's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration, like who's going to build the app, you know. Are you going to build it, are you going to outsource it to somebody else? Are you going to build it in-house? If you outsource it, who's going to look after any bugs or issues or problems, or who's going to do all the upgrades and, you know, the latest versions and keep the tech up to date, you know, because there's always going to be competition that's going to hit. If you actually turn around and then you decide, oh, we're going to build it in-house, who's going to pay for them wages? Programmers aren't cheap, you know, so it takes time. So planning out your business, it needs to be planned out, you know, and especially if you're going to build a new app, it does take time, you know. There's a lot of consideration that you have a lot of things you have to take into consideration. So
let's go back to the 2 weeks before launch, scrap that, start again. What have you got now? What is the product like? Describe it.
Yeah, well, I suppose the product, it's really easy to use, you know. It manages all your tax, your insurance, your MOT, your finance, your warranty, all your service history. So you've got it's a really one-stop shop to manage digitise all your car documents as such. Then basically you can add in different events and things like that. So if you've got an MOT coming up, or you've got the likes of, you know, booked in for a service, you can put them certain dates and stuff that'll remind you about that. You can load up your driving licence, your passport and things like that there as well. But we have a lot of new things coming out on the roadmap. We've actually just recently done a deal with a company called Siopa. They own Compare NI, and they also own Quote Zone in the UK.
Okay.
So they actually thought that Pocketbox was a good idea, and we were able to do a deal with them. Roughly now, within the next week, we should have it launched. There'll be 117 insurance brokers on it.
Oh.
So you'll be able to get insurance quotes and different things through Pocketbox as well. We'll also have car valuations. So that's another section, and then we've got VDA checks on it as well, where you can actually go on, if you're buying a car maybe at the side of the road or off somebody in person, you want to know that there's no finance on it or it hasn't been hit or anything like that, so you can do a VDA check and it'll check it up, and that's covered up to £40,000 worth of insurance on that as well. So there are a couple of wee
add-ons
extras,
and extras, and the it's not like here is the app; it's constantly going to evolve. Then
it'll constantly evolve, yeah. And that's, I suppose, getting back to the last point that we were talking about, building the app for 10 grand. You have to be in the mindset of constantly evolving the app and making it better, because there's going to be new things come to market, and you have to, I suppose, be ahead of the curve to try and compete with these.
Yeah, it is incredible, and the whole world of apps is incredible, and even just visiting the app store is it just is amazing to think, like, even 20 years ago we hadn't even heard of these things. What's your favourite app and why, apart from Pocketbox?
I suppose I like Spotify,
Yeah.
I think Spotify's
Genius.
good,
Well,
yeah.
that's another
And
one.
it's, I suppose it's there's you have every music artist in the world on it, so like at the end of the day it's brilliant.
Yeah.
You get lost in Spotify,
And it's for all ages, it's for
all
everybody.
ages, yeah.
There's really no target market there.
No.
As long as you've got a smartphone or a device here.
Yeah, you can use it and listen to it anywhere,
And you learn so much about new music, so it is genius. Now, you've said that you can't just spend 10,000 to build an app. I wonder what is more likely the realistic figure for you at this stage.
Oh, flip, I wouldn't like to tell
No,
you.
no.
we got a significant amount of investment from Innovate UK and Invest NI, and I've mostly been funding it myself. So I suppose if you add up all the wages that we've been paying and different things over this past year, it doesn't take too long adding up what we've spent. But we've spent a good lot of money on it, and we're only really got the MVP one. It was launched in March, the end of March. So now we've got the next latest version, which we should be launched next week.
And then the whole idea is the monetizing of it, as you say.
Yeah.
So you get something, you put it out there, people are able to access it for free at the minute, but you want to make money out of it now. Yeah,
that's the point. I suppose it's trying to find how are you going to monetize the app, and different things. That's the challenge, but we've a lot of different ideas, and we're talking to a lot of key partners at the moment that are really interested in what we're doing, and I think we really have something that we should go places,
And you can see that you're really excited about it.
I am.
Yeah, because I wonder, I've spoken to many other guests as well about that self-doubt or that confidence, and especially when you are your own boss and you're an entrepreneur and other people have invested and given you money and they want you to succeed. Does that pressure ever get to you?
No, to tell you the truth, being honest, I sleep well every night, I could try to get 8 hours every night and it's no problem, but look, I have never really, in my whole life, the risk hasn't bothered me, as far as taking a risk in business, I sort of get a buzz out of that, so I've never panicked about doing anything. The way I've always looked at it is, if it doesn't work out, we'll do something else. We'll make calculated risks, but at the end of the day, if you don't take a risk, you might as well just be working in a job,
That's it. You're also taking a risk when it comes to other companies as well, because you're an early stage investor. Do you enjoy that side of things?
Yeah, I suppose, it's something else, to try and,
What are you interested in?
To tell you the truth, I like talking to any new companies, new startup tech companies. I love hearing what they're doing. I love to figure out, just even if I can help them, I try my best, to make connections for them and stuff like that there. I like it. People have probably, over the years, I've got a lot of help from people, so it just sort of interests me,
Gives you a buzz. Well, I'm just wondering what the biggest challenge has been so far and the lessons learned from that?
Yeah.
You seem pretty chilled to me.
I don't know about I suppose the biggest challenge is getting the app built, right?
Yeah.
And it's, you're building something, you're starting from scratch. There's a lot of coding is involved and different things and stuff. You want to make sure that the flow works and that people will use it and all sorts of stuff. So it's trying to get the app built. And because we were building the B2C product at the start, how do you monetize that? It's not something really that we could monetize right from the start. So now we have our B2B model where we're talking to different people in the automotive industry, and I think...
And they get what's in it for them as well.
Yes, so it's that has been probably the biggest challenge, is trying to build the business and get to a level that we have something that we can sell, and then I suppose as you start to build the product, sometimes your ideas change and you have to be selective in what you're going to build and just be very careful, so but it's exciting times, and we're really interested. We are really excited about the product. We think we'll have something good, So.
And at what point do you get to, like as with JMC Mobile, at what point do you know you'll be ready to sell, or have you any idea how long that might take?
Yeah, whenever the first person writes a check.
Yeah.
No, I suppose I'm not interested. We're just at very early stages yet, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I think we're doing something that's worthwhile. Like, for instance, I know I'm going off topic a wee bit here, but there was a guy rung me up the other day and he said, Jim, he says, that app is brilliant. Wow. He says, you've done a real good job there. He says, thanks very much, David. He said, my car broke down in Belfast the other day. He says, you never believe what happened. He says, my car broke down in Belfast the other day. He said, I rung the breakdown service and they were delivering a courtesy car. So he said the driver with the courtesy car arrived and they left his car to get a ticket to get it fixed, right? And he said the first thing they asked him for was ID. Oh. And he says, I searched my wallet, no ID with me, no ID in the car. He says, and then I remembered pocket box. He says, I remember scanning my driving licence in, and he took out the phone and he was able to show the driving licence with pocket box on it, and the guy accepted it, So when you hear stories like that, it makes you feel that what you're doing is worthwhile, that people are actually using the app and they're getting a benefit out of it.
And it's always in a crisis when you need those things. It's always that last minute. So to know, to have that reassurance. Well, I hope you recorded that interview with him and you put that up in the testimonial. I was going to say the testimonial is really where you convert, isn't it? Those stories of when Pocket Box.
Yeah, because there was another guy actually said one day that he rung me up as well and he said, Jim, he says, that's brilliant. He says, when he put in his wife's driving licence, he realised that she was actually driving around for 6 months with no driving licence. So she probably wouldn't have been insured or anything like that either, And then there's other people saying they had no MOT. Especially during the pandemic, and then with the problems with the MOT, and everybody didn't know whether they were covered or not. And where's that piece of paper? Yeah. Well, as soon as you put your information into the app, it tells you all that information straight away. As soon as you put it, all you have to do is just put in the reg of your car, and that's it.
Right, I'm off to download Pocket Box, Jim. No excuses now. No excuses for not knowing where anything is. It's been a joy to talk to you today. Great to hear about Pocket Box. I'm sure there are lots of people who will be onto the App Store now, ready to download. I ask everybody that sits in front of me the same question, just to leave us with for the day. But the purpose of this podcast is to inspire business owners and ambitious entrepreneurs to grow their business by offering insight into the success of companies such as Pocket Box. What is that key nugget of advice that you would give to people who have the idea but have no idea where to start, especially, I suppose, in tech, or they're unsure as to whether or not the risk is worth taking?
Yeah, I suppose the best advice I'd probably give to anybody is to go out and talk to as many businesses with your ideas. Try and surround yourself with a good sounding board, people who are going to challenge you. It's okay talking to friends and family, but they're not really going to, they're going to say, oh, well, that's lovely, Jim, well done. Here's a big pat in the back, But, they're strangers you want to talk to, people who's going to challenge you, go out and talk to people in specific sectors and things like that there, Once you've got your app documented and you're looking to find out exactly what you're going to build, you want to find out what exactly it's going to cost to build. How are you going to fund this? Is it going to be your money or investors' money? How are you going to sell it? You have to look at things like your pricing model. Who's going to buy it? Also, where are you going to sell it? So there's lots of different things. What's the competition like? And will they actually pay for it? That's another thing. If you're not going to take in any revenue, you don't really have a business. So there's a lot of stuff there that people need to really take a look at, and before they go, and take that leap.
Yeah, it is a busy market developing apps, but I think you're onto a good one. Thank you for sharing those nuggets of advice. Really beneficial and really useful. And I look forward to seeing what you sell it for in a few years' time. And good luck, Jim. Thanks very much for joining us on the Public Eye podcast.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks.
This podcast was recorded in Granite Podcast Studio. Interested in starting up your own podcast but don't know how? Granite Podcast Studio can help. Record your podcast in our state-of-the-art studio, which is based in the heart of Newry City. Our studio has cutting-edge and user-friendly technology and can seat up to 4 people. We also provide an editing service for our team, using your guidance and editing notes to provide you with a flawless finished product, leaving your listeners wanting more. For more information on how you can get started, visit www.granitepodcaststudio.com.